In the headlines, Prime Minister Skerrit clears the air on allegations by local contractors that they are passed over for major development projects. The mayor of Roseau puts forward her own proposals for traffic restrictions in the city and a recommendation that climate change risks be considered in Dominica's post-Erica rebuilding process. I'm Andrea Wee with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, plans have been announced for a by-election in the Soufriere constituency. This after Parliamentary Representative Ian Pinard resigned as a Member of Parliament on Tuesday. The announcement was made at a constituency meeting in Soufriere. Mr. Pinard previously resigned as Public Works Minister following allegations of inappropriate behavior involving a minor. Prime Minister Skerrit called the party supporters to prepare for victory at the by-election. He said the Soufriere Scott-Said-Gallia constituency was near and dear to the heart of the party. Mr. Skerrit pledged the party's support for Mr. Pinard, saying his pain was their pain and that Labour was one family. More on this development in our next newscast. Prime Minister Skerrit defends the decision to award the contract for construction of the new West Bridge to Energy Management and Technical Services Limited of Barbados. Julian Morris reports.
Mr. Skerrit has released a statement in response to an open letter by the Joint Consultative Committee on the Construction Sector, JCCS, which accuses government of favoring foreign contractors and excluding their local counterparts. But the Prime Minister says this new bridge will be a flagship project for the city and therefore must be built to higher standards. He believes the quality of the project will translate into lower maintenance costs and a more durable structure.
I do hope that eventually, when the full scope of works is made known and it is recognized that the Ministry of Public Works did a fantastic job in containing this project to $18 million, persons who casted unfair aspersions on the integrity of the system would be honest enough to retract those statements.
The Prime Minister says NSG is a reputable company with over 40 years of experience in the Caribbean, working on many large public and private development projects, including the new international airport in St. Vincent. But Mr. Skerrit says the company has a recent track record of performance right here in Dominica.
Following Tropical Storm Erica, NSG sourced bridges to aid with the reopening of the West Coast Road. Their engineers and technical staff worked for over 30 days without any break to deliver and supervise the installation of the 3 Bailey bridges. NSG also sourced the bridge and supervised installation of the 33-meter bridge at Boetica. NSG has reaffirmed their commitment to engage local contractors and professionals in Dominica, and in doing so, transfer technology and construction methodology to the local sector to further build capacity.
The Prime Minister says, contrary to the impression given by critics, a lot of the work to be done will involve local contractors, but based on their capacity, experience and ability to execute the works within the time required by the project.
It is already widely known that numerous local contractors, as well as service providers, are currently assisting NSG with their work on the ground in Dominica. As the project progresses, this local presence will increase and become evident to all. This commitment to the engagement of local contractors was an important consideration for the government. However, it was also of critical importance to the government that NSG has on staff here in Dominica civil engineers who individually have over 25 years of experience in building of bridges and large structures and are experts at planning and defining the resources needed to execute work and project management. It should be noted that the dredging work alone will provide work for many local excavation and trucking companies, as this work will include the removal of over 2,000 dump truck loads of material.
The mayor of Roseau is displeased over the traffic department's recent parking restrictions and is planning to introduce her own proposal. Iduna Jean-Baptiste reports.
No parking signs were placed on Hillsborough Street, Kennedy Avenue and King George the 5th Street in March. However, Her Worship Irene John thinks more thought should have gone into the decision.
The no parking, that in itself is creating a problem. I figure instead of having no parking, what they should do is have parking for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes. You know, have a limited time by which you could park and not just no parking, because the spot in most cases is just, you know, vacant. People coming into the business, there's nowhere to park, and you just have no parking signs all over the place. The traffic department should organize it differently. Have parking, 5 minutes parking, 10 minutes parking, and if you want to park longer than that, you pay.
Section 83, subsections 1 and 5 of the Vehicles and Road Traffic Act gives the Traffic Department the authority to place no parking signs or markings on streets. Head of Traffic ASP Matthew Cuffey has said that the law makes provisions for up to 10 streets within Roseau to have parking limitations. According to him, this is all in an effort to ease the flow of traffic within the city and to accommodate emergency vehicles. While Cuffey said the authorities are exploring ways to accommodate parking in and around Roseau, John says her council has identified a site to be developed near the Riverside Apartments for a proposed public parking lot.
As a matter of fact, we have already discussed it at the council level that we right now looking at setting up, putting machinery in place where we can have parking for a limited time, and you pay to park for the period of time that you want to park. There is an area that we're looking at across the EC Lowbrack Bridge. That area has been looked at for parking, but as to how many spots that can be allocated, I'm not sure. But we have to look at the parking differently in the area that, let's say you build shelves. You build the parking but in shelves where you can sort of accommodate, you know, quite a number of vehicles.
The police chief is responsible for approving or declining proposals concerning traffic. A recommendation by the traffic department to implement parking restrictions and allow one-way traffic on some streets in Portersville recently got his stamp of approval. Iduna Jean-Baptiste, Channel 5 News.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has reaffirmed his government's commitment to eradicating pit toilets in the southeast. His comments came when he addressed the community of Grand Forks over the weekend.
Rest assured, my dear friends, that we'll continue to provide housing assistance to all of you who need housing assistance. And I want in the next few years for us to completely eradicate pit latrines in Grand Forks. Every one of us must have the opportunity to have a washroom facility, a modern washroom facility. And we are prepared not to stand in our challenges to make the resources available irrespective of who you are, irrespective of your political affiliation. Once you're in need, we have a responsibility to assist you in improving your lives.
The Prime Minister says the completion of road works in the area is also high on his agenda.
Let me say to you, my dear friends, that as long as I'm the Prime Minister of this country, we will, with the help of God, improve this road coming from the Tarish Pit all the way down to Dalis. This government will improve the road to the satisfaction and which will enhance the safety of road users in this country. And whether we have to borrow the money from a bank to build this road, this government will build this road because it is absolutely necessary that the government builds this road. Because this road has to be improved to enhance the safety of those of us who reside in that part of this country. So let us bear some patience. We are having engineers study this area. It's not an easy place to construct a road because both the mountainside and the riverside are a challenge.
The Prime Minister called on Dominicans to desist from criticizing efforts at developing the country.
We criticize Dominica all the time, as if Dominica is the only place in the world with challenges. There are many rich countries in the world that have greater challenges than Dominica. In Spain, Spain is a developed country. Spain provides us with tremendous assistance through the European Union. But there is 40% unemployment among the young people in Spain. 26% unemployment among the national population. There are challenges. What is small Dominica not to have challenges? The question is, what are we prepared to do as a community, as a country? Are we going to sit and criticize, or are we going to put our hands to the plow? Are we going to be working together to make life better for all of us in Dominica?
A team of 2 will be heading to Jamaica later this year to showcase their newly developed app. That was the aim of Code Sprint 2016 Dominica. The goal of the Code Sprint is to bring in developers, subject matter experts, idea generators, and mobile application developers in one venue for the purpose of developing working prototypes. Technology entrepreneurs on the island spent 24 hours at the Dominica State College coding in order to develop a working prototype of their project. Director of Telecoms says activities such as these can help to transform Dominica.
The purpose of this program and others like it is to see how we can find solutions to problems. You can come up with something that is unique, let's say, yes, to Dominica, only to find out it can be used on the international stage to solve other problems in small island developing states like ours. We don't want people coming from the college with an honors in computer engineering and software development, only to find out they walk around town looking for a job. You should be coming from the college saying, what am I going to do to develop Dominica?
The National Regulatory Commission, NTRC, partnered with the Caribbean Mobile Innovation Project through UE Consulting to execute this project.
Whilst there is this pitched challenge where you engage in a competition to provide a product and probably move on to an enterprise, we're hoping to foster a nucleus of developers, a community of developers, so that you can continue to grow and continue to nurture and continue to take on bigger and better challenges that are available to us, but we just do not have the structure in place to accept those challenges.
Team Link Up, consisting of Iris Tusa and Daniel Pond, won the competition. Their app aims to make information on local events more easily accessible to the public.
We at the Link Up Group, we believe that it shouldn't be so difficult in a technology age such as which we are in right now to get events. It shouldn't be a problem, especially in a small island like ours and even in other places, to find events. So our solution to that was creating the Link Up app. And the Link Up app has a lot of different features. One, we have all the current events in Dominica as posters on the app. We have push notifications, and we also have a voting feature. And that voting feature allows events to be a lot more immersive. So that's one of the beautiful aspects in terms, well, for the venue owners.
Tied for third position were Team Budget and Team Relativity. Second place went to Team Agora. Coming up, a plan to create employment for the youth in Grand Forks. Welcome back. A proposed national physical development plan is expected to guide the government's approach to resettlement of those displaced by Tropical Storm Erica.
Rory Baksh of Canadian-based Dillon Consulting has been helping the country develop the plan since 2013. He facilitated a 2-day consultation on the draft physical development plan, which wrapped up on Tuesday. After the stakeholder consultation, the draft plan will again be tweaked to reflect recommendations. It will later be submitted to Cabinet for approval. Baksh says government's resettlement committee has shared information on the list of priority areas requiring relocation due to Storm Erica's impact.
In regards to resettlement, we spoke with the resettlement committee, and they've identified a number of communities that are prioritized for resettlement, and in the plan it actually provides a list of those communities that are intended for resettlement over the next few years as the plan goes forward.
Baksh has recommended that while the country continues to build back, the climate change risks should not be ignored.
The need to recognize the natural hazard and climate change risks that faces Dominica, and that is front and center. The impacts of Tropical Storm Erica are still fresh in our minds, although the impacts of that were very distressing and unfortunate. I think the silver lining to the dark cloud, it has given us a firm resolve to ensure that as Dominica moves forward into the future, that we are being mindful of those risks and doing a better job of planning around areas where there's going to be challenges, And the other thing is if we're going to be building, we're going to be making better decisions around where we invest in infrastructure. And if we have to rebuild, the intent is to build back better, as opposed to potentially build in places that may be at risk once again. So that is a key component of the physical development plan, and I think it would be a fair expectation of any plan for Dominica to recognize the significant amount of natural hazards and climate change risks that are faced here.
Layu residents have held discussions with authorities on the way forward for their community. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit was engaged in talks with people of the area as a means of empowering them and helping them become more independent. Layu is well known for its fishing sector and annual Titiri Festival. Skerrit says development of the fishing industry in Layu will greatly enhance the community.
I know there's some young fishermen. How can we collaborate? Mr. Carey there, who is an expert on fishing there and all matters related to fishing, you know. So you have the expertise in making of boats and so forth, nets and all the likes. Layu was one of the communities with the greatest expertise in the fishing industry. How can we elevate you to a next level? What are the challenges you're having, and what are the 3 things we can do together?
The Prime Minister also noted that several enhancements can be made to help improve tourism in that community.
We could build washroom facilities so when the guests come, there's a place that they can go. We can have proper setup for the vendors. So instead of everybody having a little setup here and there and so forth, we can have permanent setup there so that each vendor in Layu would rent from the development committee a booth and be able to pay something every month, as small as it is, and have that booth so that when tourists come, both domestic tourists and foreign tourists come, we have a much more improved place to cater for them.
Honorable Skerrit urged Layu residents to take advantage of the educational opportunities available to them.
We have more opportunities now in education than we had 10, 15, 20 years ago. All of us who gets to grade 6 at a primary school has a space at a secondary school in Dominica. More of us have access to the college, to the state college. You know? But I would like to see more of you take advantage of university education. There are opportunities there. I give you the assurances that we will assist. We will assist with your washrooms. We will assist the fishermen. I'd like to see more of you take advantage of the small business support. And we'd like to improve the housing situation in life. And it can happen. But it can only happen if we work together, my friend. It can only happen if you avail yourself of the opportunities. You know, and for the young people, we have more opportunities now in education than we had 10, 15, 20 years ago. All of us who gets to grade 6 at a primary school has a space at a secondary school in Dominica. Every one of us. More of us have access to the college, to the state college. You know? But I would like to see more of you take advantage of university education. There are opportunities there.
Parliamentary representative for the Grand Fork constituency says plans are underway to help the youth develop new skills and reduce unemployment in the area. The remarks were made over the weekend at the commissioning ceremony of the Grand Fork playing field.
Presently, as I speak, we are constructing a broiler house which will serve as a model for training young persons in the growing of broiler chicken. And we are all aware of the developmental studies that have been taking place with respect to the national abattoir. So we expect young persons in Grand Fork and the surrounding communities will take advantage of the training opportunities that are going to be made available for you, the people of this constituency.
As the community is preparing to celebrate its many achievements through various activities next month, Stevenson cites road improvement works as a notable achievement for the Grand Fork area.
We also had achievements in Grand Fork, especially accessing our main road. And you know exactly the amount of money that have been spent. And those of us who have been driving to Grand Fork, we knew the conditions of the road. It is not as yet complete, but I can assure you, the brothers and sisters, as long as you give me the opportunity, as the parliamentary representative, I will ensure that we see the continued improvement of our road access into Grand Fork.
And an appeal is being made to any person or organization who can provide a safer and more permanent home for a man who has made his home in the bushes near the road to Canefield East for the last 5 years.
Ellis Frank lives in a makeshift shack, mostly exposed to the elements, and his meals are uncertain and irregular. His leg was amputated after an injury to his toes became infected. He says he has tried to support himself by doing odd jobs for those who would hire him. There are days when the occasional small financial contributions from the passers-by make all the difference between having a meal or going hungry.
But what is your greatest need now? What is it you think you need the most now?
Anything that's necessary. I mean, I don't, as a shelter, but if I can tell you for more shelter, because it's a tight situation for everybody to think about a shelter. Anything like it's a little food and things, like that's not the hospital, like the can bring you there. Or somebody can right now check in. Now we go down there and we can stay there.
So a shelter, a secure shelter would be
they
one of your...
They can build a shelter there. If they have to give me some material, they can build it there. They build it somewhere, a house I built already.
What would you like for yourself?
What they give me?
Certainly you don't want to live here all your life.
No, and not my fault living there all my life. But if somebody bring me somewhere else, I will have to go and see if they give it me to cool out still. You know? I was living under the bridge, and since the river they come down bad and I was under it. Come down bad.
Channel 5 News found out about Frank through Michael Coppell, a resident of Canefield East. Coppell says he has reached out to help on occasion, but he believes Frank needs more permanent assistance.
He really needs a home. He needs a home to stay. He cannot continue in that situation. We are now going into the rainy season. He has been there almost 5 years. And when he had both legs, he would leave and go and do a day's work. But now one of the legs is amputated. I mean, that's serious concern for us. So it's based on that I decided to bring Marpin to see the situation so that Dominicans can understand that we need to reach out to our fellow brothers and sisters. My gift is to reach out to people. And I love working with people. I love interacting with people. I like working with people. And so I take pleasure in doing that.
Yeah. I asked him earlier, finally, what his dreams were for himself, and so. But what are you hoping will happen for him? What would you like to see happen for him to better his situation?
Well, I'm hoping that one of the institutions will take up the matter and see how they can get a proper home for him, because he's a human being and he cannot continue in that situation. If you see this, I mean, you can see the surrounding there. This toilet is in that same area, his bathroom is in that same area. Look at the state, and I mean, it's not good at all.
That's news. We join Kenny Williams next with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Football kicks off with matches in the secondary schools girls, All-Island and Dominic Women's League this week. The Dominica Football Association, in collaboration with the Sports Division, will begin the secondary schools girls football championships this week. On Wednesday, Convent High School will take on Pierre Charles Secondary, while on Thursday it will be Dominica State College versus the Dominica Grammar School. On Friday, St. Martin's Secondary will come up against Wesley High School. All matches are carded for Lindo Park at 2 p.m. Meantime, 13 matches are scheduled in the national leagues of the Dominica Football Association. In the All-Island League, Wednesday, Buster Warner will take on Nemesis United at Benjamin's Park at 5:30 p.m. On Thursday, Petit Savan Dream Team will come up against Andy Williams Spartans Football Club at the Poirier Playing Field at 5 p.m. Over at Newtown Playing Field, Maxroy Classics Foncolé will battle Times Ballers Middleham United from 5, followed by Daddy Chess Bath Road Ambassadors versus White River Ballers at 7 p.m. On Friday, Ray Charles Point Michelle will take on Club Lubia at 5 p.m. at the Poirier Playing Field, while at Newtown, Haitian Angels will come up against Wayne George Academy from 5, followed by Bathurst State Football Club versus Mahosoka Strikers at 7 p.m. And at Benjamin's Park, East Central Young Boys will battle Dublin Football Club at 5 p.m. Finally, on Saturday, Goodwill All-Stars will take on ACS Tarish United at Newtown at 6, while over at Portsmouth, it will be Nemesis United versus Wood City Strikers at 3 p.m. Gerald George has a football lineup in the Domlec Women's League.
On Sunday, Bomber Starlights will take on Maosoka Strikers at 3 p.m. in the first match of a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field, to be followed by Dive Dominica Harlem United versus defending champions New India Goodwill Runners at 5 p.m., while at the Benjamin Park, Wood City Strikers will battle New Generation Sports Club at 3 p.m.
In cricket, the game between Goodwill Secondary and Dominica Grammar School ended in a draw. However, GSS won on first innings decision in the 2016 First Domestic Insurance Under-15 Cricket League. DGS won the toss and elected to field first. DSS were 91 all out. Daniel Alexander 22, Nikael Del Sol 19. Ethan Doctrove took 5 for 32 and Cody Peltier 3 for 55. Grammar School in reply scored 71 all out. Brian Dewhurst scored 16, Malachi Xavier picked up 5 for 11, Sanchez Santos 2 for 18 and Mikael Del Sol 2 for 14. Goodwill School in the second inning scored 43 for 7, Malachi Xavier scored 35. Cody Peltier picked up 3 for 16, Dejani Samuels 2 for 2 and Ethan Doctrove 2 for 21.
Still in sports, Sports Minister Justina Charles is urging Grand 4 residents to make full use of the newly commissioned playing field. The ceremony took place on the weekend.
Very often, when we have underdeveloped or no playing facility, we ask for them. And everybody wants a playing field within their community. Today, you have one in Grand 4. It's my hope that every time I come to Grand 4, especially when it's time for recreation, I will see it even with more young people as I saw on the old playing field. So let us not ask for it, and when we get it, we do not maximize the use.
Charles is of the opinion that the current sporting facilities on the island are sufficient to steer young people away from antisocial behavior, and the lack thereof should not be blamed for it.
A comment was made that our young people are engaged in antisocial behavior because of the lack of facilities. I wish to defer to that statement because I think never before we had the amount of playing facilities and recreational facilities than what we have now. And I also want to say, in the absence of those playing facilities, all of us who are older found other things to do instead of engaging ourselves in antisocial activities.
Meantime, Parliamentary Representative for Grand 4 Ivor Stevenson highlighted the playing field access road as one of the major improvements made under his stint as PALREP.
But as we entered right here, we saw to improve access to this brand new playing field. And this access, my dear friend, you know how beneficial it is to you, the people of Grand 4, particularly the people in the Ludborough area who we all know did not have the best of motorable access that they had. And today, everybody here can boast, those of you here, and even those persons living in Ludborough can now boast that we now can drive to the playing field and also drive to the dwelling homes. And that in itself has made life better for all those persons making use of this facility.
Moving on to basketball, where Kyrie FM Old School dominated their game with a 32-point lead over Fashion Line Falcons in the 2016 Flow DABA League Monday night. That game was called off earlier in the league and continued play from the third quarter. The final scores: Old School 80, Falcons 48. Old School's top shooter was Levi Barron with 18 points and 2 rebounds, while Falcons' top shooter was Ronnie Magloire with 12 points, 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Now back to the football scene with the 2016 National Bank of Dominica District Championships. The North, Valley Central, Northeast and Southwest zones will convene at the Benjamin's Park for the semi-final, third and fourth place rounds, followed by the grand final on Wednesday. The competition will be followed by an award ceremony put on by the Sports Division and NBD to reward top teams. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Coming back to cricket. Delayed the start of the game by an hour, Rising Pune Super Giants defeated Sunrise Hyderabad by 34 runs, complements the Duckworth-Lewis method in the 22nd match of the Indian Premier League on Tuesday. Sunrisers batted first and were 118 for 8. Shakir Dhawan top scored with 56. A. Dinda picked up 3 for 23 for Super Giants. Set 119 for victory, Super Giants posted 94 before the rains came. Stephen Smith scored 46 while Faf du Plessis added 30. That's all the time for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Do join us again next time.
Your weather report is next.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. Infrared satellite imagery today showed multi-layered clouds across the Leeward Islands. Generally fair skies were observed across the central and southern portion of the region. Visible satellite imagery showed just a few low-level clouds across Dominica. Radar imagery indicated limited shower activity across the southern portion of the region. The weather for tonight is expected to be partly cloudy and hazy with a few brief scattered showers. Similar conditions can be expected tomorrow, with temperatures peaking up to 31 degrees Celsius. Sea conditions tomorrow are expected to be slight to moderate, with waves peaking up to 5 feet. For the next 3 days, expect increasingly cloudy skies and scattered showers. Across the region tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, some hazy conditions, and scattered showers can be expected. On the international cities forecast, partly cloudy skies in New York, Miami, and Beijing, thunderstorm activity expected in London and Caracas. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:43 a.m. and sunset at 6:23 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Scarrett clears the air on allegations by local contractors that they are passed over for major development projects. The Mayor of Roseau puts forward her own proposal for traffic restrictions in the city, and a recommendation that climate change risks be considered in Dominica's post-Arika rebuilding process. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Lee, and to all our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.